gentlemen. I think all of us who are sitting in the dais already known to you, so I don't need to repeat their names. I really would like to have a direct kind of a rapport with the students who are joining. I mean, just about 3 days old. They started coming day before yesterday. This is part of the orientation program. You see, this guy, some of you must have heard about a director called Muzaffar Ali. He made a very historical film, which is very well acclaimed, film called Umrao Jaan. Those who belong to Lucknow, surely Dr. Devi Singh and all of us got connect with Lucknow. In fact, one of his films has been released today, another film that he's made called Janisar. Umrao Jaan के एक गजल के अल्फाज हैं, इस अंजुमन में आपको आना है बार बार, दीवारों दर को गौर से पहचान लीजिए. This is to the students. इस अंजुमन में, इस इंस्टीट्यूशन में आपको रोज आना है, बार बार आना है, 2 साल के लिए आना है, तो दीवारों दर को गौर से पहचान लीजिए. Now the important thing is that it's not a दीवारों दर जिसको आपको पहचानना है. It's something which is going inside that bricks and walls and rooms and, that's probably far more important for you to understand and to be able to observe and be part of that process for the next 2 years. The previous speakers talked in terms of exciting times, challenging times, and they also presented a very beautiful picture of the country, the emerging country, in the global context and the kind of superpower that we're going to be. And all of us are going to be, and most of you are going to be active partners in that progress. That journey, which started probably a few years ago, is going to be inexorable, unstoppable, and you gentlemen and boys and girls are going to be an integral part of the process. So it's a very exciting kind of a time. But the exciting time, the challenging times, the demographic dividend, the global connect, all these things do not have any meaning unless you gentlemen, boys and girls are fully prepared to handle that. You see, the times can be exciting, but if you're not part of the process, if you haven't been able to integrate yourself in that process, if you haven't been able to understand and assimilate the parameters, the dynamics of that exciting time, it will just pass by. So I think that is where it is extremely important for you to prepare yourself to be an integral and a proactive part of that exciting period which we anticipate are going to take place in this country. We are all saying that this century should belong to India, America and China and other superpowers. For them, it's become passé. And for us, for Indians and the young population, would be having greater opportunities. But my dear young friends who you have now, having taken a decision to join this management institute, two, three things are very clear. The first thing is that you have now more or less foreclosed all your options to more or less to choose any other career. You're not going to be doctors, you're not going to be lawyers, you're not also likely to get into a film industry. So majority of you, almost all of you, have chosen management as a career option. So therefore you, obviously, whether you like it or not, you will have to have a strong connect in understanding the word to business. Word to business, how it is conducted globally and how it is conducted in India, and what are the different parameters, what are the different forces that operate in the business, specifically to the corporate sector that we have in this country, and when you become an integral part of that. So for that, I think it's extremely important that 2 things. One, we utilize the 2 years that you're going to spend in this institution. Please spend every moment of that time that you spend here. Utilize every opportunity that comes to you, comes your way. Connect with your colleagues, with your teachers, with your director, and whoever is in a position to provide you that kind of support system. Before that to happen, you see, one of the early classes in your business sessions, you probably would be talked about what is called a SWOT analysis. SWOT really, for some of you who just joined, you might probably understand strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats. Forget about the SWOT analysis of external factors. First of all, begin with performing a SWOT analysis of yourself. You must understand your strengths, your weaknesses, and the kind of opportunities that are available to you. Understand yourself. In fact, one of the things that Shishir mentioned very rightly, that the greatest challenge that we today, the world of business or the society faces, is that a larger number of us are not aware of our own strength. The self-management, you know, just to quote one of the greatest management gurus of our times, Peter Drucker, he says, when the history of the nations or history of the world is written 200 years or 300 years from now, it will not be about the great strides or technological advances people have made. It will be not about internet revolution. It will also not be about e-commerce. It will be essentially about the great opportunities that have been thrown open to people who've been spoiled for choices, and it will be primarily about the concept of self-management. How do people manage themselves? And I think, and he further on says that we're really not prepared for that. So I would suggest that when we spend these 2 years, while we imbibe all the rudiments of the management education, all the fundamentals of management education, be it marketing, be it finance, be it HR, be it operation research, not a problem. Imbibe them all, assimilate them all, but first of all, understand your strengths, your inclinations, your interests, and what is it that excites you. You know, I often say that one of the things that Professor Devi Singh mentioned about was the successful aspect, definition of a successful person. My definition of a successful person is that if you're able to get to work what you enjoy most. The kind of work, all of us got to keep on working all our life, to the last breath. So if you're able to get to work what you enjoy most, you become the most successful person. It's not a question about money, it's not a question about power, all what is called a diminishing returns. All these tend to diminish over a period of time. But if you are able to enjoy every moment of your life, every moment of the work that you perform, not only your satisfaction level goes up, your productivity levels goes up, and you're able to make a difference to the society around you. And I think that's the kind of an exercise you need to do. You see, while 2 years that you spend here, I would in fact suggest this to the director and faculty and the students together, that please utilize your time, apart from understanding the management education and different curriculums that you need to develop here, something that is available to you right under the roof of this institution, are probably of a different kind that you probably would be exposed to when you go out. I think this is the kind of an opportunity you need to utilize fully. And I just list out 3-4 skills which I think is extremely important that we play an emphasis upon, and something that we've been experiencing when we talk about placement, when we talk about interaction with the outside world. I think the first important skill that you need to develop is to improve upon. You should be also exposed to situation where you're called upon to make decisions. Decision-making ability is also a skill which cannot be easily cultivated. It is experiential in nature. You've got to be exposed to different situations where you are allowed to take a decision. Obviously, at this state, you're not going to take a decision whether how much power generation you should be able to conduct. The kind of decision-making would be little nitty-gritties in your classroom, in your project preparations, in your organizing events in this kind. So I would suggest that please involve your students in all the administrative and the governance-based activities that you organize in the institution. For example, if you're organizing an inter-college contest or elocution program or a quiz contest or seminars, give them the responsibility. Let them start. So, that's the kind of a decision process that you will be involved in. You probably would be asked to make bigger decisions, but that quality, that skill of making decisions at the right moment with the parameters that are available to you can possibly be developed in this institution. Third, skill I think you need to be very clear, very, very sure about is your art of negotiation. You know, the world over, it's a fiercely competitive world. We are in a situation where there are a lot of takers, maybe sometime, you know, the quantum is available is not very, very large, but then there are all kinds of stakeholders for that. So, how to negotiate your position and negotiate from the position of strength, how do you do that? Now, does it require any ethical standard? Does it require any complete knowledge about other person's weakness and strengths? That is one area I think you need to really focus upon. Fourthly, I think you need to raise the emotional quotient of your students. You know, today the world over, there was a time when we looked at people with great intellect, people who had great charisma, you know, highly intellectual giants who probably became big leaders. But I think the fast changing world today, while intellectual achievement is important, to be a good leader, to be able to work with a large number of people, your emotional quotient, your understanding, your ability to empathize and sympathize and understand what others, their desires and their expectations are, has become very critical. While your intellectual quotient may be strong, unless it is supported by, you know, emotional aspect, you know, to be able to work together as a team, to be sensitive towards other people's requirement, also has now become extremely important. And I think this is the time when you can understand, you can develop that. My dear friends, as Professor Devi Singh said, this is the time, utilize every moment of it. I would also tell you to make mistakes if you want to. Make mistakes. You'll be forgiven here. But if you go and make mistakes outside in the corporate world, you shall not be forgiven. Take risks. Get out of your fear syndrome. Another thing, whether your teachers, your faculty likes it or not, if they are making a presentation, if you do not agree, question them. Don't take anything lying down. Don't accept anything lying down. Question them. That's the kind of creative skills that you need to develop. Today, you know, I remember in a couple of places I was giving lectures and I made a statement about one particular topic. And I found the guy is sitting right across, suddenly started Googling. I had given one particular meaning and he Googled and found another meaning for it. And he got up, he said, sir, what you're saying is not, this is the correct meaning. What I'm trying to say is that information today is available to everybody. And to the teachers, I'll suggest, don't take your students also granted. You know, today they can collect information. You know, today teachers have got to be on the toes. Not only the quality of teachers have become important, they have to be on guard. They have to be far more prepared ahead of the you know, students. Only then they shall command respect. Only then they will be able to deliver what they want to do. On this subject, I just want to make one small observation, which is with the information explosion that is taking place all over the world, the internet and what have you. Today, every subject under the sun, from God to love to sex to business to, you know, name anything, everything is available. The intricate medicines, everything is. You can know today if your father is going into operation table, what kind of stent is it going to be employed. You know, this is the kind of things, information is available to everybody. Now, I think it's extremely important that information at the very beginning, at the very face of it, is only a data. It's just giving you some kind of a lowdown upon the characteristics of that situation. I think information by itself does not take you anywhere at all. It's just plain data. I think information has to graduate to the level of knowledge. If information is not, and that can happen if the data and the information that you collect is actually analyzed, understood, explained in the context, in the perspective it has been shown. Having said that, knowledge itself is also not, that this is also is not enough. Knowledge sometimes can be destructive. You know, gone are the days when we used to define knowledge as power. Knowledge can be power, but knowledge, the power can also be destructive. This is where the critical decision comes in. And that's something my earlier speakers have been talking about also. that unless you have a clearly laid out purpose in life, clearly laid out objective in life, if you want to make an impact, if you want to make a difference, your knowledge has to graduate to the level of wisdom. And the wisdom will come to you only when your knowledge gets integrated with purpose. So my dear friends, young friends, you have the entire world open to you, entire world at your feet. It all depends how well are you prepared, how well you equipped to utilize those opportunities. The great opportunities that are being thrown open to us. But for that to happen, you have to be fully prepared. You have to have a purpose. You have to be passionate about it and utilize each and every moment of your stay. Enjoy every moment of it. One last point before I wind up is that, because there are dons of management education, people who had experience in these lines, and faculties, and all these people are here. You see, I have been giving it a thought that our management education has been largely structured on the Western model. We still think the Harvard, Stanford, Yale, these are the meccas. London School of Business are meccas of business education. To my mind, there has to be some kind of a modification, some kind of a thought which has to go into it. You see, unlike subjects like physics, chemistry, mathematics, which 2 + 2 would be same whether it's in Delhi or in Washington, and the composition of ozone and hydrogen and all chemical compounds, the salt would be sodium chloride, whether it's in India or it's in. But management field is very, very culturally sensitive. I think we management people who are in charge of management education in this country, and we can't think of somebody better than the gentleman who's sitting here. We need to revisit. Can we bring about some kind of Indian bias, indigenous? Can we try to indigenize it? All right, it's fine to leverage, fine to utilize the best possible practices. If management practices in America and other places or in Europe are doing great, providing great benefit, generating great employment opportunities, and doing is a wonderful thing. No harm in using it. But are we also looking at the Indian model? Are we also looking at the Indian case studies? Are we also looking at the Indian cultural sets? Let me just give you one little example. I was in America last month, and I happened to address a gathering of senior executives and senior management people in an organization called FedEx, which is the largest courier service worldwide. In fact, they have something like, and this is in Memphis. They not only next to the Memphis International Airport, they have their own airport, which is about 300 aircrafts parked there. So they do service all over the world. So I spoke to these people for about 2 hours. And it was scheduled to be 2 hours, but stretched on to 4 hours, on issues of leadership, ethical standards, and stress management and self-management. And at the end of the session, they said they want to discuss more, because in a very traditional management model, no one talks to us about it. I try to bring about a relationship in happiness and productivity, awareness and productivity. The stress buster in terms of how in a particular situation, by the process of meditation, how can it possibly, or spending time, quality time with yourself. These are the things, and it was a very fascinating kind of a session. Now, these are things which are very much indigenous nature, very much part of our heritage, part of our culture. Why don't we talk about these things in our management classes? Why are we only talking about Harvard case studies? No problem. Talk about that. Talk about Philip Kotler, or talk about any great management guru. But let's prepare ourselves to be able to. So, just a point that we need to revisit the management education paradigm that we have willy-nilly borrowed from different countries, and within that structure, let's introduce certain elements which have a strong Indian bias. And I'm sure the management, understanding of management education, understanding management concepts, which is in the context of our own culture, would be easily understood and easily imbibed by a culture which is alien to us. Boys and girls and teachers and faculty, I wish you a great next 2 years. And again, as I'm saying, that enjoy every moment. And academic rigor, two things. Academic rigor cannot be sacrificed. Two things that I want to mention. Attendance is non-negotiable, Dr. Prasad. I think you must attend every. Don't please, unless there's an extraordinary circumstance, that's an issue which is a problem. Attendance is non-negotiable. You have to be present in the class to be able to take advantage. And that's a big challenge which the directors and other people are facing. So I would suggest that you please don't remain absent unless it's absolutely necessary. Second, you need to be participative in each and every program that goes on, and as I said, finally, the academic rigor. And once you, decide the area of your interest, something that you enjoy doing, then I can assure you, you would not like to leave the precincts of this institution very early. You like to spend more and more time, and that's a kind of a challenge which is there with the faculty and other people. I wish you all a great future, next great 2 years, and a fantastic future in the coming, and be part of the great exciting time that India is. Thank you.